That's right, folks. Before the one that we all know and love, there were two others. The first was in 1419 and was caused by social unrest after the assassination of Christian reformer Jan Hus. The second, chronologically, was in 1483, though it is often overlooked historically because its only effect was 8 dead aldermen after a violent overthrow of the Bohemian municipal government. The third, though it is often referred to as the second, is the most well-known. It occurred in 1618 and was a key incident that led to the infamous 30 Years' War. Let's spend some time looking at the two most important, though, shall we? The first defenestration of Prague occurred after the City Council of Bohemia refused to release some of the Hussite prisoners that had been taken after Jan Hus had been burned at the stake. The rally was led by Jan Zawelski, a Hussite priest, and violence only became the group's objective after an anti-Hussite threw a stone at the rally's religious leader. The protesters then stormed the town hall and threw some 15 members of the town council from this tower, where they fell to their deaths onto a group of spear holders down below. This and other acts of violence led to the Hussite Wars. The wars were caused by a growing feeling of inequality between the peasants and the Catholic Church, and an attempt to reach an understanding between the two factions. The Defenestration of 1618 had by far the biggest historical consequences. Tensions began when King of Bohemia / Holy Roman Emperor Rudolph II issued the Letter of Majesty in 1609, which allowed the Protestant estates of Bohemia to freely practice their religion. However, when Catholic proponent Ferdinand of Styria eventually took over in 1617, he ordered several of the Protestant churches that were currently being constructed to be shut down. At 9 a.m. on May 23, 1618, members of the Catholic Lords Regent and the 3 main Protestant estates gathered. When Catholics met the Protestant requests about what had happened to the Letter of Majesty, with assertions that they would have to talk to their superiors before answering, the Protestants became angry and threw the regents and their secretary from a 3rd-story window in this tower. This act of violence against the dominant Catholic power led to the infamous 30 Years' War, which was the bloodiest European war before the 20th century. It killed at least 3 million people, but it was also the last religious war in Europe, thanks to the Treaty of Westphalia. Defenestration is the act of throwing someone or something out of a window. The term was coined around the time of the Defenestration of Prague in 1618. The word comes from Latin de, down or away from, and fenestra, window or opening. Likewise, it can also refer to the condition of being thrown out of a window. The Hussite Wars, caused by the first defenestration, acted as little more than early and unnecessary bloodshed, but it was caused by the same unresolved tensions that eventually led to the second defenestration and the following 30 Years' War. The welcome conclusion of the war, finished by the Treaty of Westphalia, is where the simple throwing of people from windows actually began to play into serious historical events. The Treaty of Westphalia can be directly linked to the changing boundaries in Europe, which allowed the French and the Swedish to gain power while the Spanish Habsburgs lost so much prestige that they were forced to give the Netherlands freedom after their Dutch revolt. In addition, the loss of power for the Holy Roman Empire, which had once ruled Bohemia, and the complete destruction of German infrastructure and farmland led to a newly disillusioned European population. This led to their turn towards secularism and reason, leading directly into the Enlightenment and the Scientific Revolution. And from those two pivotal movements, pretty much everything else in history came to be.